In society at the moment, there are many modalities, there's many offerings of ways to be able to support people. But one of the errors that I've found is that many of them are based on what I call relief-based strategies. And what relief-based strategies do is that they offer people a relief from the current part of life that they're experiencing. But unfortunately, relief-based strategies, from my experience, are not long-lasting. And so we then go back into a cycle where we continually seek the support of the short-term relief measure. So if we come back to the scale, I can give you some examples. One of the questions people often ask me is, what's my opinion on medication for behavioural disorders, mental health disorders, and so on? Now, I'm not qualified to speak about the types of medications or things like that, but I can talk about the medication and how it impacts on people and their body and their behaviours. And as a starting point, it's important to understand that I'm not anti-medication, because I certainly see that there's a need and support for medication. But what medication does, which is the same as all relief strategies, is it deals with the body. Yeah, and that's it. It doesn't deal with life, and it doesn't deal with skills. So with medication, we have our body at code blue, and then our body starts using words, behaviours, thoughts and feelings that start taking us up here. So then we might go to the doctor and we say, this body is using many of these unwanted behaviours. That might be for depression, that might be for anxiety, that might be for ADHD, or so on and so forth. But what the medication does is it relieves the symptoms of the body, so the body then comes back down closer to blue. But we haven't supported the person to develop the skills to deal with life, so life continues to present whatever the life lessons are that are being presented. So as life presents continual lessons, the body then starts to return back up here. So we then go back to the doctor, and the doctor, we say the medication is no longer working. And so the doctor says, well, here's a new prescription, or here's an increase of dosage, or hey, let's change over to this particular medication and see how that works. And the body may come back down closer to blue. But we still haven't taught the skills to deal with life. So the body goes back up. And I've met people who are 60, 70 years of age who have been on a lifelong cycle of continually changing medication, because they're just living this cycle here. Up, get medication, come back down, go back up. So with medication, what we need to understand is that medication can be very supportive in a short term to help get a person back closer to blue. But then we need to coincide it with teaching the skills to deal with life. Because at code blue, a person is at their peak of being able to learn new skills. At code green, their ability to learn new skills is a little bit diminished. At code yellow, it's more diminished, their ability to learn new skills. At code orange, their ability to learn new skills is a lot diminished. And by the time they're at code red, it's basically non-existent. Like all of us have been at code red, and when people try to talk to us or teach us something new, the ability to retain that information or implement that information is very, very limited. So from a behaviour specialist perspective, the opportunity to teach new skills is best at this end of the scale rather than that end of the scale. So in those situations, if needed, medication can be supportive to offer the short-term relief to get down here, so then we can teach the long and lasting changes, the skills required to bring about the opportunity for that person to feel equipped to respond to life. But that same principle applies to many other tools or strategies or relief-based strategies that we use in life that are often used to relieve the symptoms. Food is a classic example. A lot of the time people are up here, they might use food, and artificially that food brings them back down here. But then they live in this cycle of eating these foods to help bring them back down here, but it's still not teaching the skills to deal with life. Exercise can be the same. We take a person, they come home from work, and throughout the day they've had the challenges, the triggers, the aspects of life that they found difficult. They come home, they're at code orange, and at code orange or code red, they say, I'm just going to go for a run. So they go outside and they go for a run and they come back down here and they're at code blue. But tomorrow they go back and they've still got similar triggers. So at the end of that day, they still come back closer here, and then they find their relief-based strategy to bring them back down. So whether it be exercise or food or alcohol or certain people that we spend time with, or prescription medication or non-prescription medication, like the list of relief-based strategies that we as a society have is endless. Yeah, but the purpose of all of them is not to bring about lasting change, but to relieve the body of the current symptoms. So our approach in the Body Life Skills program is knowing that lasting change will not occur through relief-based strategies, rather will only occur when people feel like they've developed the skills, so they now feel equipped to respond to whatever life's presenting. So it's an ongoing cycle, and blue is never a point that we reach. We get to blue and say, what's next?